Very good morning, students. Today we will start another important new chapter in your physical chemistry. That is, you can say it is the pillar of physical chemistry. Okay, so let us discuss or start the topic thermodynamics. Thermodynamics. Thermodynamics means it deals with, that is, thermo means heat, dynamic means motion. So heat, that is nothing but energy, that is energy. Okay, so thermodynamics, basically its definition is nothing but the interconversion of energy, the transfer of energy. Okay, the mode of transformation of energy accompanying in different physical and chemical processes, that is called thermodynamics. That means the energy transfer or the change in energy which occurs in the form of heat, work or radiation, you can say, in different physical and chemical processes, that is called thermodynamics. So let us write down its definition first. The branch of physical chemistry, the branch of physical chemistry which deals with the study of energy changes accompanying in different physical and chemical changes, physical or chemical changes is known as thermodynamics, is called thermodynamics. Clear? So if energy changes involve a chemical change, that is called chemical thermodynamics. If the energy change occurs in a chemical reaction, you can say, in a chemical reaction, then that is called chemical thermodynamics. Then it is called chemical thermodynamics. Chemical thermodynamics. That clear? So now let us go through different terminology of thermodynamics. That is terminology of thermodynamics. Terminology we should know before go through the chapter. Frequently we are dealing with some important terms. So first one need to define over here, that is, what is a system? System means, suppose you all are here and I am teaching you. So this classroom, the arrangement of this classroom includes our system. Okay, so that is the specified region of the universe which is under investigation, that is called system. Suppose you are going to cook, you take the container, add water, and whatever there you just boil it. So that includes your, including your burner, container, all the things that include your system. Okay. Suppose your study table is there, books are also there, and you are sitting there for your self study. So including you, all these instruments starting from book, table, whatever is there. Okay. So it includes your study system. So that is very simple. The specified portion of the universe, the specified portion of the universe or region of the universe which is under study, or you can say investigation, study or investigation, is called a system, is called a system. Okay. And except system, the rest are known as surrounding, through which it directly related, that is system. So whatever system, whatever the change in the system takes place, that is with respect to its surrounding. So surrounding means except system, the rest of the part of the universe, that is called surrounding. So simultaneously I can write down the definition of surrounding over here also. Surrounding. So except system, the rest of the universe, the rest of the universe is called its surrounding, is called its surrounding. That clear? So suppose you are standing here or you are studying there, so except your study region, the rest part of the universe, that is called surrounding. That clear? Now the system, there is some region which separates the system from the surrounding, that is called boundary. You can say, suppose cricket stadium is there and there is a boundary. Okay, so beyond that boundary, that means at the surrounding peoples are sitting. Okay, so now this is boundary, the region, boundary, the region which separates the system from the surrounding, that is called boundary. Okay, so let us define this, the category of boundaries. How many types of boundaries are there? So regarding the types of boundary, so this boundary can be a residual, it can be a residual. So residual means, suppose the system is separated from surrounding by a hard residual. So residual means its shape and position is fixed. Next, it is impermeable in nature. It is impermeable in nature. That means it does not allow the passage of matter. It does not allow the passage of matter to the surrounding, This is one type of boundary, that is your rigid wall. And the next type of boundary you can say, that is dithermal wall. Dithermal wall. So dithermal wall means, particularly what happens, a system exchange matter and energy with respect to its surrounding. Okay, so depending upon the nature of boundary which covers the system, whether it is allowing energy or matter or both, so depending upon that sense you can classify the types of wall or boundary. You can say that dithermal wall means it only allows the exchange of energy, but no matter to the surrounding. Clear? So this type of system, that means the wall is sealed but not insulated, because it is sealed. Since it never allows no matter to the surroundings, there is no exchange of matter, so it is sealed but not insulated. Since energy can be, it allows the exchange of energy. That's why this one is dithermal wall. Next one, that is adiabatic wall. Adiabatic wall, you can say. Adiabatic wall, it neither allows energy nor matter to the surroundings. That means the wall is sealed, no matter, sealed as well as insulated. So this type of wall we can compare in an ideal, if I consider regarding its example, I can remember in an ideal thermoflask, you can say thermoflask. The wall of thermoflask is made sealed and insulated. Okay, so this is the classification of boundary. So now, depending upon the exchange of matter and energy, let us explain different types of systems, which is very important. Okay, so types of thermodynamic system, you can say types of thermodynamics systems. So first one I need to discuss over here, that is isolated system. So very simple terminology there. Isolated means which never exchange any matter or energy to its surrounding. The system does not allow the exchange of matter and energy to its surrounding. is called an isolated system. Isolated system. That is called an isolated system. So if it never allows the exchange of it neither exchange any matter nor any energy to its surrounding, that is called isolated system. That means here we can conclude the walls of the system, the wall of the system is perfectly sealed and insulated. So here example you can say in an isolated system, example again I can consider an ideal thermoflask. An ideal thermoflask is an example of an isolated system because it neither exchange any matter nor exchange any energy. And the second type of system, that is called closed system. Closed system. So closed system means it never exchange any matter but can exchange energy to its surrounding. So this system only exchange energy but no matter. Okay, that means the wall is made sealed but not insulated. For example, you just take hot water in a container by covering it. Okay, so what happens? The hotness of the system decreases because the energy in the form of heat is exchanged to its surroundings, but matter remains same. You can see boiling of water in a closed container, that is the example of an isolated system. Okay, just take few water, just close its opening and then heat it. So what happens? Heat can be exchanged from the surrounding to the system. As a result, boiling of water takes place, but no water molecule can expelled out from the container since it is closed. So this is an example of your closed system. Next, that is open system. So open system means it is the system which can exchange matter as well as energy to its surrounding. Next, if it allows both matter and energy, that means the wall is not insulated and not sealed also. That means the wall is neither insulated nor sealed. So very example is very simple example is there. Boiling of water in a open beaker. Boiling of water in a open beaker, that includes open system. So this is these three systems are very important: isolated, closed and open. Again, depending upon composition, I have told you in basic chapter, depending upon composition, depending upon composition, systems are of two types. Systems are of two types. One you know, that is homogeneous system. Homogeneous system. And another one, that is heterogeneous system. So homogeneous system means having uniform composition. Having uniform composition and consists of a single phase only, and consists of a single phase only. That is called homogeneous system. So example coming under homogeneous system, you can say mixture of two miscible solids or liquids, okay, a dilute acid, that is homogeneous system. Is that clear? Then that is heterogeneous system. Heterogeneous system which is non-uniform, okay, having non-uniform composition, having non-uniform composition. That means it having different phases. It consists of different phases. Example, in place of miscible, you can consider over two immiscible systems, oil plus water. It is a heterogeneous system. Two phases are there: immiscible liquids or solids. That clear? So this is the classification of systems. How thermodynamic systems can be classified. This is all about the system. Next we will proceed further terminology. So next, that is macroscopic properties of the system. Macroscopic properties. Macroscopic properties. Particularly, these are the general properties which are associated with the bulk of matter. Okay, which explains a system particularly. Okay, so just write down, that is, these are the general properties which associated with the bulk of matter known as macroscopic properties, which associated with the bulk of matter. Okay, so these are very simple properties: temperature, pressure, volume, clear, hardness, density, refractive index, melting point, viscosity, surface tension, etc. These are macroscopic properties which are associated with the bulk level of a metal. Next, these macroscopic properties are classified into two important properties. One is macroscopic property, it is broadly classified into two categories. That is, one is intensive property, the second one that is extensive property. Intensive property and extensive property. So intensive property means which depends upon the amount of substance present in the system. So the property which depends on the quantity of matter present in the system, which depends on which does not depend, okay, which does not depend on the quantity of matter present in the substance. That is mass independent properties. You can say mass independent properties. So mass independent properties, that is temperature. You see, suppose I am considering a piece of rod, that is red hot. This is one is an iron rod. This is red hot. You have heated this rod strongly. Then so that the heat is uniformly distributed throughout the iron mass. Okay, so what happens if I consider the temperature over here, and I am saying that here the temperature is, let's say, 300 Kelvin, 300 degrees centigrade. Okay, so if I cut a piece of iron from over here, this small piece I am considering, which is cut down from here. So if I ask you what is the temperature of this one, again it becomes how much? 300 degrees centigrade. So it can be a large size or small size, but temperature is 300 degrees centigrade, always remains same. So this temperature independent upon mass, that's why it is an extensive property. Temperature, similarly pressure, okay, concentration. How can you conclude concentration? Suppose there is a glass of milk is there, and here the ratio of milk and water, you can say, that is, let's say, 3:1. Very tasty milk is there. Is that clear? So milk and water concentration, that is 3:1. Suppose I just remove some amount of milk over here and in this container. So here the ratio of milk and water also, that will be 3:1. So it is independent upon the amount of substance. So concentration is an intensive property. Okay, this is temperature, pressure, concentration, density. I can consider over here concentration means molarity. Is that clear? Next, that will be all the specific terms. You can say specific heat and refractive index, also intensive property, that is refractive index, etc. These are intensive properties. Okay, so let me write down few points on intensive property, then I will tell you extensive property, that is different and quite opposite to that of a intensive property. Next you see, okay, let me explain extensive property again. So it is mass dependent property. Okay, so property which depends on the quantity of matter present in the system. That means it is mass dependent property. Okay, mass dependent property. Next, its example: mass itself, volume, is that clear? Internal energy, enthalpy, entropy, gives free energy, heat capacity. Remember, specific heat capacity is intensive, but heat capacity is extensive. Okay, so heat capacity means it is the amount of heat required to raise the temperature of substance. So more the amount of mass, more heat energy will be required. So that is extensive property. Next, remember a point: if the ratio of two extensive properties are considered, then it becomes an intensive property. Suppose I am considering better density. So density, that is mass upon volume. So mass itself is an extensive property, divided by volume is also an extensive property. So you can imagine this extensive nature get cancelled to give you intensive property. That therefore density is an intensive property. Okay, so this is about the difference, or you can say the concept behind extensive and intensive property. Then we will discuss about state variables. Okay, state variable means you can consider these are the properties, you can say, which helps us to explain the or to know the behavior of a thermodynamic system. Okay, so state variable means the properties which help us to know about the behavior of a thermodynamic system. That is called, these are called state variables, are known as state variables. Okay, so example of this category you can see in order to explain a state of system, can you use temperature, pressure, is that clear? Temperature, pressure, volume. Just I have discussed in state of matter, you can also know volume, etc. Again, the state variable are classified into two categories. Okay, one is state function. The state variable broadly classified into two categories: state functions and next one, that is path function. State function means these are the properties whose change the property whose change depends on the initial and final state of the system is known as a state function. Okay, since we are considering the change in state function, you can write over here its absolute value you can't determine. Okay, the absolute value of a state function cannot be determined. However, its change can be determined. The change in a state function can be measured. Okay, so if, for example, in case of state function, for example, that is internal energy is a state function, enthalpy, entropy, gives free energy, etc. These are state functions whose value depends upon the initial state and final state of the system. Next, this is path function. They are path independent. Okay, state function means path independent. Path independent means they do not deal with the nature of change, how the change has been brought out. Okay, so path independent means independent upon the nature of change. That means how the change has been brought about. Okay, how the change takes place, they only depends upon initial and final state. For example, change in internal energy, I can write like that is del E, that is equal to E2 minus E1, the final minus initial. It never depends upon how it changes from E1 to E2. Okay, that is state function. Path function means depends upon path. thermodynamic properties which depends on the path followed for the change. The path followed for the change. That means path dependent function, and particularly in thermodynamics there are two path functions. Okay, heat and work. Heat, that is Q, and work, W, are path functions. That means they depend upon the path followed. What is the path for the change? That is called path function. You just remember, heat and work are path functions. Okay. Then we will discuss thermodynamic processes. Thermodynamic processes. Thermodynamic process means thermodynamic process, that is the operation through which a thermodynamic system changes from one state to another state, is called a process. So these thermodynamic processes are of following types. Important. The first one, that is very important, isothermal process. Iso means same, thermal means temperature remains constant. Okay, temperature of the system, that is temperature of the system remains constant through the operation, throughout the change you can write. That means whenever a system changes from one state to another state, then throughout these changes temperature remains constant. So temperature remains constant means, that is the change in temperature dT, that is equal to 0. That means the system is not thermally insulated. During the operation, the exchange of heat energy takes place between the system and surrounding. Okay, so the system is not thermally insulated. Is that clear? That is, since temperature remains constant, that is heat exchange takes place between the system and surrounding. Next, I'll tell you, when we are discussing about first law of thermodynamics, you can write right now, just write down the internal energy, since the internal energy is a function of temperature, function of temperature means it depends upon temperature. So as del t as dt is equal to 0, that means as dt is equal to 0, that means del u, change in internal energy, also 0 for an isothermal process. Clear? Now the second type of process, that is adiabatic process. The second type of process, that is adiabatic process. Adiabatic process means there is no exchange of heat takes place between the system and surrounding. There is no exchange of heat takes place between the system and surrounding. System and surrounding. That is del q is equal to 0. There is no exchange of heat takes place between the system and surrounding. That means the temperature of the system must be varied, because due to since there is no exchange of heat takes place, that means temperature of the system also varies here. That's why I can write, that's why the temperature of the system varies. Temperature of the system varies. So next one, that is isobaric process. Isobaric process followed by isochoric process. Okay. Next, that is isobaric process. Isobaric process. A process is said to be an isobaric process if the pressure remains constant throughout the change. That is dP, that is equal to 0. This is called isobaric process. Next, isochoric process. Isochoric process. Volume remains constant. Okay, the process or the operation, the process which occurs at constant volume, that is called isochoric process. That means the change in volume, that is equal to 0. Next one, that is cyclic process. Cyclic process means whenever a thermodynamic system undergoes several state of change and finally attains the initial state, is called a cyclic process. It's called a cyclic process. So for a cyclic process, you remember change in internal energy, that is equal to 0. That clear? So today we will successfully explain the terminology of thermodynamics, and few two important processes are there, that is reversible process and irreversible process. We will discuss in next class. Okay. Thank you.